Level 1. The wash. The first time you count dirty money, you wear gloves. Not because of fingerprints. Because cash that's been buried, taped, and passed through 100 hands is filthy, and you can smell it. By the end, you don't wear gloves anymore. You stop smelling it. That's the first thing that goes. The smell. The last thing that goes is everything else. You start with one thing. A laundromat. A cash business in a strip mall with 12 washers and 10 dryers and a change machine that jams. Nobody can prove how many people did laundry on a Tuesday. Nobody counts the quarters but you. You meet Sal because he owns the laundromat 2 doors down and a car wash across town. He's in his 50s. Calm. He wears a cardigan and reads the newspaper at a folding table while his machines run. He doesn't look like a criminal. He looks like a man who owns laundromats. That's the entire point. Sal watches you for a few weeks before he says anything. He watches how you handle the register, how you talk to customers, whether you skim. You don't skim, and that's what he's looking for. Not honesty exactly. Discipline. A person who can be around money all day and follow the rules is worth more to him than a person who's just greedy. Greedy people are easy to find. Disciplined people are rare. He buys you coffee. He asks about your life. He takes his time. One afternoon, Sal tells you what he actually does. He takes cash that needs a reason to exist, and he gives it one. Drug money. Scam money. Money that can't be deposited because there's no story for where it came from. Sal gives it a story. A laundromat that earned $40,000 last month isn't hiding anything. It's just a business that had a good month. That's the rule that runs everything. Laundering isn't hiding money. It's giving money a story. The money walks in dirty and walks out with a tax return. You start small. Someone gives you a garbage bag of cash. You run it through the laundromat's books. 50 customers became 80. 80 became 120. The coins in the machines are real. The extra is not. The deposit at the end of the week looks exactly like a laundromat having a good month. You take 3%, then 5%. The cash comes in garbage bags and leaves as bank deposits. You're not stealing from anyone, you tell yourself. You're just cleaning. A service. Like the machines. Sal shows you how the math works. A laundromat does a certain amount of business a week. There's a ceiling on how much you can claim before the numbers stop making sense. 12 washers can only run so many cycles in a day. So you learn the limits. You learn how much a believable Tuesday looks like versus a suspicious one. You learn that greed is what gets people caught. The ones who try to wash too much too fast are the ones who end up explaining themselves to a federal agent. Sal never washes more than the machines can justify. Patience is the whole craft. The first time, your hands shake when you carry the deposit to the bank. The teller smiles and counts it and thanks you. Nothing happens. Nothing ever happens. That's the thing nobody tells you about laundering. The hard part isn't doing it. The hard part is believing it's this easy. And once you believe it, something shifts. You stop seeing the garbage bags as someone else's crime. You start seeing them as raw material. A problem to solve. The money isn't dirty or clean to you anymore. It's just unprocessed. You're the processor. That's the moment Sal was waiting for. The moment the smell stops bothering you. Level 2. The front. One laundromat can't explain the volume. The money is coming faster than 12 washers can justify. Sal teaches you the next thing. Fronts. A front is a real business that runs on cash, where nobody questions the numbers. A laundromat works. So does a restaurant. A nail salon. A used car lot. A business where customers pay cash and walk away, and no one keeps a list of their names. You buy a restaurant. A small place with a counter and 10 tables and a kitchen that actually cooks. Then a nail salon. Then a used car lot on a corner with plastic flags. Real businesses. Real employees. Real customers who have no idea. The restaurant actually serves food. The salon actually does nails. And every night, the dirty cash gets blended into the register so the books show a busy business instead of a quiet one. A slow night that made $400 becomes a good night that made $4,000. The extra $3,600 came from a garbage bag in the back office. By morning, it's restaurant revenue. By tax season, it's income. By next year, it's clean. The restaurant teaches you something the laundromat couldn't. A laundromat is just machines. A restaurant has people. And people make the lie better than any number ever could. A health inspector walks in and sees a real kitchen. A loan officer sees real receipts. A neighbor sees a real line out the door on a Friday. Every real thing about the business is a brick in the wall around the thing that isn't real. The more legitimate the front looks, the less anyone looks past it. This is where you hire Danny. She comes in for the waitress job with a resume that has a gap in it and a kid waiting in the car. She needs the work. You need a waitress to make the restaurant look real. You hire her on the spot. She's good, genuinely good. The regulars love her. She remembers their orders. She picks up extra shifts when someone calls out. She tells you, the owner she's grateful to, that this job is helping her get back on her feet after a hard year. She brings her kid in on slow afternoons to do homework in a corner booth, and she always asks first, like she's not sure it's allowed. You tell her it's fine. You tell her she's doing great. And every night after she goes home, you blend $40,000 of someone else's crime into the receipts she helped create. You start to like her. That's the dangerous part. She's the most honest person in your operation, and she's the one keeping it standing. Some nights you almost tell her to find another job. A better one. Somewhere that isn't built on a lie she can't see. But you don't. Because a good waitress who believes in the restaurant is worth more than any shell company. Her honesty is an asset on your balance sheet. You file the thought away, and you let her keep working. The business is real. The employees are real. The food is real. That's what makes it work. The cleanest lie is the one that's mostly true. Danny isn't part of the lie. Danny is the part that's true. And that's exactly why she's so useful, and exactly why it's going to destroy her. The salon and the car lot work the same way. The salon does real manicures for real customers and books twice as many on paper. The car lot sells real cars and writes up phantom sales for cars that were never there, cash buyers who never existed, paid in full and driven off the lot in your imagination. 3 businesses, 3 stories, all of them mostly true. You spread the dirty money across all of them, so no single business ever has a month strange enough to notice. That's the art of it. Not one big lie. 100 small ones, each too boring to question. Level 3. The structure. The fronts can only absorb so much. A restaurant can only have so many good nights before the numbers stop making sense. And the money is coming faster now. You're not laundering for street-level dealers anymore. You're laundering for people who move weight. Millions a month. So you build a structure. Shell companies that own other companies. A consulting firm that invoices the restaurant for services that don't exist. A real estate company that buys properties with cash and sells them at a loss that isn't really a loss. A holding company that owns the consulting firm. Money flows through 6 entities and comes out the other side with a clean paper trail. Owned by a company, owned by a company, owned by nobody you can find. You don't touch the cash anymore. That's the first rule of getting big. The further you get from the physical money, the safer you are. So you bring in Marcus. Marcus is in his 20s. Careful. Quiet. He needs money, and he doesn't ask questions you can't answer. His job is simple. He moves the cash. Garbage bags and duffel bags between the laundromat and the restaurant and the salon and the car lot and the bank. Every week, tens of thousands of dollars riding in the trunk of an ordinary car on ordinary streets. He knows exactly what it is. Unlike Danny, Marcus knows. He takes different routes every time. He never speeds. He never wears anything that gets noticed. He drives a car that's a few years old, the kind nobody looks at twice. He takes his cut, and he never asks for more. You trust him because he has as much to lose as you do. His hands are on the dirty money now. Yours aren't. That's what the structure is for. You meet Marcus once a week in a parking lot to go over the routes. He's smart. Smarter than the job needs him to be. One day he asks you why he can't learn the rest of it. The companies. The structure. The clean side. You tell him to focus on the driving. The truth is you need someone whose hands are dirty so yours can stay clean. And a courier who understands the whole operation isn't a courier anymore. He's a witness. You keep him in the car. He doesn't push it. That's the thing about Marcus. He always knows where the line is, and he never crosses it. You'll think about that later, when he's the one deciding your future from a holding cell. Sal gets out around now. He sells you his laundromats, shakes your hand, and retires. Clean on paper for 20 years. A legitimate businessman with a legitimate fortune and a house by the water. He tells you one thing before he goes. He says the trick isn't making money. The trick is knowing when to stop. You nod like you understand. You don't. You won't. Until it's far too late. You're the center of a wheel now. The money spins through 6 companies and comes out clean. You're making more than you can spend. You buy a house through a shell company. You drive a car that technically belongs to a consulting firm in another state. On paper, you have almost nothing. In reality, you have everything. But the bigger it gets, the less you sleep. Every business is a door someone could walk through. Every employee is a person who could notice. Every deposit is a record that exists somewhere forever. You start keeping a map in your head of who knows what, who touched which bag, whose name is on which slip. The structure that keeps you safe is also a structure that can be followed, one entity to the next, if anyone ever finds the first thread. You tell yourself nobody will. You almost believe it. Danny's still at the restaurant. 3 years now. Assistant manager. She has keys. She does the nightly deposit. She carries the blended cash to the bank and signs the slip with her own name because that's her job and she's proud of it. Her name is on the deposits. Marcus moves the money. Danny banks it. You own all of it through entities with no name on them. 2 people handle the dirty money every single day. Neither of them is you. That's not an accident. That's the whole design. Level 4. The collapse. It doesn't fall apart because of you. It never does. One of the people whose money you wash gets arrested on something unrelated. Facing his own years, he trades up. He gives the federal investigators the network. The people who clean the money are worth more to him than the money. He gives them the businesses. He gives them the structure. He gives them you. Except he doesn't know your name, because nobody knows your name. He knows the restaurant. The investigators pull the thread, and the thread leads, the way it always does, to the people whose hands were on the cash. It starts with a traffic stop. Marcus gets pulled over on an ordinary road on an ordinary afternoon with $60,000 in a duffel bag in the trunk. A broken taillight. That's all it takes. The officer asks about the bag. There is no good answer to a question about a duffel bag with $60,000 in it. Marcus is arrested on the side of the road, the cash spread out on the hood of a patrol car. And now Marcus has a choice. Take the whole weight himself, every year of it, for a man who sat in a house owned by a shell company while Marcus drove the money through traffic, or give them the center of the wheel. Meanwhile, the investigation reaches the books. The deposits. 3 years of deposit slips, every one of them signed by the same hand. The assistant manager. Danny. Federal agents come to the restaurant during the lunch shift. They don't arrest you. You're not there. You're never there. They seize the restaurant, the registers, the books, and they start asking Danny questions she can't answer because she doesn't know the answers, because she never knew. Her name is on 3 years of deposits that carried millions of dollars in laundered cash. She didn't know. She can't prove she didn't know. Her signature is on everything. She spends her savings on a lawyer. She loses the job because the restaurant no longer exists. She can't get hired anywhere else because her name is in a federal money laundering filing now, and any employer who looks finds it. The single mother who waited tables to get back on her feet is radioactive. Her kid changes schools because they have to move to somewhere cheaper. She did nothing wrong. She served food and made deposits and trusted the man who signed her paychecks. And Marcus, in a holding cell, makes the call you were always afraid he'd make. He took the risk you stopped taking the day you hired him. He carried the cash, so your hands stayed clean. He's not going down alone for a wheel he was only ever a spoke in. You're arrested 3 weeks later. The structure protected you for a while. That was the entire point of it. But the money always leaves a trail, and the trail eventually reaches the center, and the center is you. Money laundering, conspiracy, tax evasion, operating a criminal enterprise. The total laundered across the life of the operation is more than $9 million. You never see Danny again. Not at the hearing. Not at sentencing. At sentencing, the prosecutor reads the list of people harmed by the enterprise. And her name is on it. Not as a co-conspirator. As a victim. The waitress you hired to make the lie look real became collateral the moment she signed her first deposit slip. Marcus is on a different list. A defendant. He does his own years for the risk he carried in his trunk. He took the fall part way, and you took it the rest. Sal's name is on no list at all. He got out clean. He always knew exactly when to stop. That was the one thing he tried to teach you, and the one thing you never learned. You serve your years. When you get out, you get a job at a laundromat. A real one. 12 washers, 10 dryers, a change machine that jams. You make change. You fix the machines. You mop the floor at closing. You count the coins at the end of the night. Real coins, from real people who really did their laundry. The money is clean. Actually clean, for the first time in your life. There's no story to invent. No cash to blend. No reason to manufacture. It's just what it is. A small pile of quarters from a slow Tuesday. And it feels like nothing. Because you spent your whole life making dirty money feel clean, and now that the money is actually clean, you finally understand the things Sal never said out loud. Clean money was never the goal. The cleaning was the high. The power to take something filthy and give it a story the whole world would believe. That's what you were addicted to. Not the money. The laundering. You count the quarters. You put them in the drawer. There's no story to tell about them. There's nothing to invent. They're just quarters. For the first time in your life, the money is clean. And you are not. You can wash money until it's spotless. The only thing that never comes clean is the person doing the washing.